everyone, my name is Ellen and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to play The Man by Taylor Swift on the guitar, so stay tuned if this is something that you want to learn. That would be okay for me to do. So this song is actually going to be really great for beginners out there because there's only 4 chords in the entire song and just one real strumming pattern that you need to know. Of course, like always, I'll show you a couple of different variations of strumming patterns. That way you can kind of jazz up the guitar part a little bit. And the 4 chords that you do need to know for this song, one of them is a bar chord, which is the F chord, but no worries there either. If you're a beginner, I will show you an alternate fingering for F, so that way you don't have to actually hold the bar. And in addition to that, you don't need a capo to play this in the original key that Taylor sings it in. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and take a closer look at those chords. Alright, so let's take a closer look at the 4 chords you need to know for this song. The first one is F, which is our bar chord, which looks like this and sounds like this. And then again, if you find bar chords to be really hard and this is hard for you to play, you can do the alternate version of F. It's an alternate fingering, which looks like this and sounds like this. The thing you want to remember with this fingering is that you won't want to strum the top or the bottom string because otherwise it'll kind of mess up the chord. So for this one, when you're strumming, you just want to strum the 4 middle strings. And again, this is in case you don't want to play the barred version of F. Alright, so the next chord we want to know is our G chord, which looks like this and sounds like this. Alright, after that we've got C, which looks like this and sounds like this. And then the last chord you need to know for this song is our A minor chord, which looks like this and sounds like this. Alright, and those are the only 4 chords you need to know for this song. Alright, so once you have those chords memorized, I always say to practice transitioning between them at the beginning of all of my tutorials, and it's especially important in this song because the chords are going through the same transition throughout the entire song. So for the whole song, it goes from F to G to C to A minor. So it'll really help you learn the song a lot faster if you take the time to practice those transitions now and make sure that you can transition pretty quickly between each of those chords. So once you have that down, we'll go ahead and jump into some strumming patterns that you can use with this song. Alright, so let's take a closer look at some of the strumming patterns that you can use for this song. Like I always start out with all of my videos, let's go ahead and do a practice pattern, which is just where you give each chord a 1 down strum while you kind of sing through, the different parts of the song. That way you know where those chord transitions are going to be so that you can kind of get used to where you're doing those transitions. So let's go ahead and put on our F chord since that's the first chord in the song. And for each of these chords, just strum down once with your picking hand, and we're going to go through each transition. So we've got F, then we've got G, then we've got C, and then we have A minor. Okay, so simple down strum on each of those chords. And now let's go ahead and put the lyrics with it. That way you can kind of hear where those transitions are going to be. I would be complex, I would be cool. They say I played the field before I found someone to commit to, and that would be okay for me to do. Every conquest I had made would make me more of a boss to you. And like I said, the chord transitions are the same, so the progressions of the chords are the same for the whole song, so you could definitely take the time to pause the video right now and go through the entire song and just sing everything with one down strum. That way you get really used to the rhythm and where those chord transitions are taking place. But after you get that down, let's go ahead and jump into our first strumming pattern. So here's our first strumming pattern. As you can see, it's down, up, mute, down, mute. So whenever you see this little asterisk, the mute is going to be me taking my hand, my picking hand, and after I strum, I'm just going to kind of mute the strings right here by kind of tapping on where the strings are by the sound hole, kind of between the sound hole and the bridge. And so whenever you're having a chord that rings, you're just going to mute it with your right hand. All right, so that's all that mute is. Okay, so once you get that, let's go ahead and practice the entire pattern. So with my F chord on, we've got down, up, mute, down, mute. Let's do that again. We've got down, up, mute, down, mute. All right, so you have to kind of put it into rhythm to kind of hear how this would fit into the song. So let me go ahead and play it for you in rhythm. Down, up, mute, down, mute. Let's go a little slower so you can play that with me. Go ahead and put your F chord on. We've got down, up, mute, down, mute. So you can see there's a little bit more of a ringing after the second down strum before the second mute. So down, up, mute, down, mute. Down, up, mute, down, mute. All right, so that's the whole strumming pattern, and once you get that pattern down and the rhythm down, all you have to do now is add back in those chord transitions. So let's go ahead and put our F chord on. We've got down, up, mute. Then you switch to the next chord, which is our G chord. Same thing. Down, up, mute. All right, then we've got C, down, up, mute, and then A minor. Down, up, mute. So the pattern is the same throughout everything, but we're just going to be switching our chords. So let's go ahead and do that again without stopping. Starting with our F chord, we've got down, mute, G, C, mute, A minor, down, mute, down, mute, mute. All right, and then again, once you get that pattern down, we can start putting the words back into it so you can kind of hear what that sounds like. So let me go ahead and take you through the first verse of the song so you can hear what it sounds like with the lyrics. I would be complex, I would be cool. They say I played the field before I found someone to commit to. That would be okay for me to do. Every conquest I had made would make me more of a boss to you. All right, and the cool thing about this pattern is that it actually fits for the entire song. So if you are just comfortable with this pattern, you like the way it sounds, you could definitely use this pattern for the entire song, including all of the verses, the choruses, the bridge, everything. However, I did want to kind of teach you guys a few variations of this pattern that are not super any harder, so that way you can kind of have a little bit more variation in your guitar playing when you're doing your covers. That way it kind of just gives the guitar a little bit more interest, a little bit more of a layer to it. So let's go ahead and jump into our second strumming pattern. So here's our second strumming pattern. As you can see, it begins with the first strumming pattern, but we're adding a little bit more to the end here. So go ahead and put your F chord on. Again, it's starting like the first one. We've got down, up, mute, down. But right here, instead of muting and then, repeating the pattern, we're going to kind of finish out the phrase. So we've got down, up, mute, down, up, down, 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 up. All right? I know that's kind of long, but once you get into the rhythm of the song, it goes a lot faster and a lot easier. So let's go ahead and try that again. Put your F chord on. Let's start from the beginning. We've got down, up, mute, down, up, down, 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 up. right, one more time. Down, up, mute, down, up, down, 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 up. Again, this is one of those patterns where you kind of have to put it in rhythm to hear how it goes together. So let me go ahead and speed it up just a little bit and show you what it sounds like in rhythm. So again, I have my F chord on. Down, up, mute, down, up, down, 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 up, mute, down, up, down, down, down. All right, so go ahead and do that with me. Go ahead and put your F chord on. Let's do it again at that speed. All right, so we've got down, up, mute, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, mute, down, up, down, down, down. All right, and then again, once you have that pattern down, all you have to do now is add in the rest of the chords. So let's go ahead and take it through one whole little phrase. We've got our F chord on. Down, up, mute, down, up, down, 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 up, G, C, A minor. All right, so once you have that pattern down, one extra little thing that you can do if you want to, of course you don't need to, but this is something that I like to personally do when I do my covers of it, because it kind of gives it, again, a little bit more interest, is I will take this second pattern, but I will add a palm mute. So what I'm doing is, whenever I'm strumming down, instead of letting the strings ring, I kind of leave the side of my picking hand kind of resting on the strings between the sound hole and the bridge. And when you lightly rest it against the strings, it'll mute the sound so they don't ring as much. So you'll see whenever I strum down, it's kind of muting the strings a little bit. You can still hear that F chord coming through, but it's a lot more subdued, a lot quieter. And so what happens when I do my down strums, it'll mute it, but when I do my up strums, since my hand is, not resting on the strings, it'll kind of do a little bit of a ringing sound. So whenever I do that together for this pattern, I think it sounds really cool. So we've got down, up, mute, down, up, mute, down, down, up. Alright, and so when you put the chords back into it, I feel like it just kind of gives it a little bit more of a rhythmic feel, which is very similar to the original song. So let me go ahead and show you what this exact same pattern sounds like when you add a little bit of a palm mute. Alright, so the place I actually like to put this in my cover is always like around the pre-chorus, kind of where she's building up into the chorus. I think it does a really cool effect of kind of building up the suspense into the chorus, which is where she talks about how her life would be different if she was a man, which is a very powerful statement. So I like to do it that way. So let me go ahead and show you what that sounds like with the pre-chorus. I got my F chord on, and again, this is the exact same pattern, we're just adding a palm mute. So we've got F, G, C, A minor. Be a fearless leader, be an alpha type, when everyone believes ya. What's that like? So you can kind of see how it makes it a little bit more fun, or maybe that's just me, but that's something that I like to add into that second strumming pattern. So if you're feeling up to it and you want to try that palm mute, I would definitely suggest adding it to this pattern and doing it during the pre-chorus, because I think it sounds really cool. Alright, so with the second strumming pattern down, we only have one strumming pattern left. So here it is. This is our third strumming pattern. And as you can see, it's just all down strums. But what we're going to do to make this interesting is we're going to kind of emphasize certain beats in this pattern. So first of all, let's go ahead and go through the pattern with our F chord on. We're just going to strum down 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Super simple, right? So go ahead and do that with me with your F chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right, so now the next thing you want to do is kind of add that palm mute into it. So this is just like we did with strumming pattern 2. You're just going to rest your hand here and then do the 8 down strums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the last thing you want to do is go ahead and emphasize certain down strums, okay? So we're going to go ahead and emphasize the 1st, the 4th, and the 7th down strum. And you'll see this kind of creates a really cool rhythm. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, and so you can see what I'm doing there is every time I do the 1st, the 4th, and the 7th beat, I'm just giving a little bit more 4s with my picking hand so that it's giving it a little bit of an accent there, okay? And so once you speed that up a little bit, it sounds very cool, very rhythmic. So let me go ahead and show you what that sounds like. I've got my F chord on. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can hear the kind of rhythm that it's kind of making by doing that. And so now you just want to add those chord transitions back in. So we've got our F chord on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. G, C, A minor. Alright, and then again, the place that I like to put this specific strumming pattern is during the bridge. Okay, and so all of this will be at the end of the video. I'm going to go through the entire song and show you guys how I would do it in my cover, and I'll include all of the strumming patterns that I'm using, and I'll have all the lyrics and all the chords and everything on the screen in front of you. So if you want to follow along with the way that I would suggest playing it, then feel free to do that. But like I always say in my videos, I think the way that you'll sound the best during your cover is by just doing patterns that feel natural to you. So if you don't like the patterns that I've come up with, or they don't flow for you, or after practicing you just don't feel like, you know, you get the rhythm of it, then definitely go ahead and try practicing a pattern on your own. Whatever your hand kind of naturally starts doing, I would suggest trying to go with that, because whenever you do your cover and you're, you know, busy thinking about the lyrics and things like that, you don't want to be thinking too hard about guitar strumming patterns. So go ahead and go with whatever you feel most natural doing. But with that being said, let's go ahead and put everything that we've learned together. So once you have the chords memorized, you've practiced transitioning between them, and you've gone through these strumming patterns and feel pretty comfortable with the one that you want to use, or all of them if you want to. Let's go ahead and put all of that together, and we'll go through the entire song of The Man by Taylor Swift. Good luck. I would be complex, I would be cool. They say I played the field before I found someone to relate to, and that would be okay for me to do. Every conquest I had would make me more lost to you. Be a fearless leader, be an alpha type, when everyone believes ya. What's that like? I'm so sick of running as fast as I can. Wondering if I'd get there quicker if I was a man. I'm so sick of them coming at me again. So if I was a man, then I'd be the man. I'd be the man. They say I'd hustle, put in the work. They wouldn't shake their heads and question how much of this I deserve. What I was wearing, if I was rude, could all be separated from my good ideas and power moves. They would toast to me, oh, let the players play. I'd be just like Leo in Saint-Tropez. I'm so sick of running as fast as I can. Wondering if I'd get there quicker if I was a man. I'm so sick of them coming at me again. So if I was a man, then I'd be the man. So that was my tutorial for The Man by Taylor Swift. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then make sure to give me a thumbs up down below, as well as subscribe to my channel. That way you guys know every single time I upload a new video. If you have any requests for future tutorials or future videos that you would like to see, definitely leave that in the comments section down below as well. And if you're down there surfing comments and you find one of somebody who suggested something and you like it, please give them a thumbs up down below as well, because I do like to look at the most thumbs up requests in my comments section. Here are my social media sites in case you'd like to follow me on any of those. Those are just kind of like behind the scenes things where I've been doing a lot of polls and giveaways and things like that. So if you want to be a part of any of that, then definitely follow me on my social media sites. And if you like the shirt that I'm wearing today, it says, you know, girl plus her guitar is together forever. I also have the boy version. So if you like this, then definitely check it out in my merch store, which is linked down below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really hope that this video helped you. I hope you liked it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye. I be the